What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into another episode of My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Sleazebomb. The next 4 episodes, this episode is going to be QBs, but we are going to dive into all the stardom sit-ems, every single matchup, every single position coming up here. This is going to be quarterbacks, and guys, we are losing quarterbacks. They are dropping like flies. Purdy is down. JD5 may be down this week. Joe Burrow looks like 3 months. JJ McCarthy 2 to 4 weeks. So these quarterbacks, I'm going to give you my interpretation of why I would play these guys over the guys that are available on the waiver wire that are making it more, I want to say, tough for you to decide which quarterback to start here. So before we dive into it, guys, make sure you smash that like and subscribe. All the support's appreciated. Can't thank you guys enough. And you don't have to, if you have a comment that does not pertain to this video, drop them in there. I try to answer them all. I'll bring you fantasy football content all year long. I try to get all of my stuff out by this Thursday before kickoff. So we are in grind time right now. If you guys have not checked out the Guys FF Discord, me and my partner Big Draft Energy cover everything fantasy football in there. Make sure you check it out. It'll be pinned in the comments and in the description as well. And you can talk with us 24/7 off stream. And if you guys want to sign up on drafters.com, where you can do pick'ems, DFS, best ball drafts, daily drafts, everything like that. That's our sponsor. Make sure you sign up using promo code SLEAZE. It will double your initial deposit up to $100. You can draft with us. I'll also be live on Friday doing some splash drafts this week, guys. And let's dive into it. Let's take a look at my stardom, sit-em quarterbacks for every single game this in week 3. If you guys are new to the channel, this is my start sit-em QB board. Obviously, the green will be the start. The yellow will be a super flex play if you need. Red will be a sit for me. And then the home team will be at the bottom. The away team will be at the top. And we're going to look at every single matchup. We're going to break down statistics versus the quarterback in this video and why I like these matchups this week. Starting off with Thursday night football, the 0-2 Miami Dolphins. Man, they need a win or they're about to implode against the Buffalo Bills. Could it be a trap game? We'll find out here. So Buffalo favored by 12.5. The over-under is 49.5. That's a very high implied point total game here. And you got the Miami Dolphins coming in on a must-win now. I feel like they're actually going to play a lot this game, and good this game. And I talked about it in my waiver wire video of why to pick up Tua, and I bolt these quarterbacks as starts this week because you have so many injuries to the quarterback position this week. That is something you have to think about. If you lost Joe Burrow, if you lost JJ McCarthy, if Brock Purdy was your quarterback, there's so many quarterback injuries already, and we're only 3 weeks in. The Tua coming off a 20-point game he just had. The Dolphins aren't really going to pass the ball much or run the ball much, as you've seen. So they're going to get the Buffalo Bills. When you look at the Buffalo Bills on paper, right, they're going to show that they have a bad defense versus quarterback. That's because week 1 versus Lamar Jackson, right? So right now, they're currently giving up 20.84 points per game, right? 292 pass yards a game. Lamar Jackson, obviously the catalyst behind all of that, which are 292 yards on the season. So they just absolutely locked up last week, right? Justin Fields had a concussion. The Jets couldn't move the ball at all. Now you're going to get a different setup here. You've got the Dolphins probably trying to look to shop Tyreek. They're not going to run much. They're going to be pass all freaking season long. Tua is a great pickup you should make if you need the waiver wire, and I like him as a start this week in Thursday Night Football for a 20-point game here. Josh Allen side, he came off one bad game. Let's be honest, this guy, you're never sitting in fantasy football. I know that it was the James Cook show last week on the ground, but when you get the Miami Dolphins, you start every single player versus this team. This defense is so bad. It is absolutely crazy. Josh Allen, this is instant QB1, QB2 this week, no matter what for me. Easy start. The 2-0 Green Bay Packers are headed into the 0-2 Browns, and it is just a matter of time before the ripcord gets pulled here on Joe Flacco. But we got to talk about this game first here. So you got Jordan Love, and if you watched anything of the Green Bay Packers last week, yeah, you saw Josh Jacobs get massive attempts, but they were up 10-plus points in the game, still shredding the pass game nonstop. Like, they do not care. They're going to take shots this year. They're going to pop bombs this year. And Jordan Love just missed a couple of them last week, which was very, very bothersome with Matthew Golden. But, we'll get to that in the wide receiver video. Now, when you're going up against the Browns right now, currently, they're ranked 20th versus the quarterback, giving up 169 yards a game. But they just got absolutely shredded by Lamar Jackson for 4 touchdowns last week. Jordan Love is going to be a quarterback that I've been saying all year that was best value you could possibly get in fantasy football. And they give up 17.3 points to the quarterback a week. This is going to be an easy start for me with Jordan Love probably for the rest of the year as long as he's healthy because I love what I'm seeing from LaFleur in this offense. Now, Joe Flacco. Nope. This defense is becoming the Green Bay Packer defense with Micah Parsons is now a must-start defense regardless of the matchup. I don't want to start any quarterback versus them. I don't want to start any running back versus them unless they're going to play garbage time and get receptions out the backfield because this defense is Super Bowl contending ready. I mean, they give up right now 15.3 points to the quarterback per game. They've given up 425 pass yards total through 2 games, so about a 212 average there. Could the Browns, sling it in garbage time like I said they would all year? For sure they can. I'm not starting Joe Flacco here. Jordan Love is a start. Flacco's an easy sit for me against this Packer D. The 2-0 Indianapolis Colts are headed into the 0-2 Titans. Indy is favored by 3.5. The over-under is 43.5. Low implied point total game there. It was low implied point total game versus Denver Broncos last week, and that was a 54-point game. I think it was a 57-point game where the Colts hit the game-winning field goal at the end with that jump freaking call by the line, which is crazy. But still, it is time to consider Daniel Jones as a must-start quarterback weekly here. I pulled the wrong one. Sorry, the Titans. And, dude, he's the quarterback 2 overall. 28 points a freaking game right now he's averaging. The Colts offense is thriving. Jonathan Taylor is absolutely smashing. He has weapons galore between Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Adonai Mitchell, Alex Pierce, Tyler Warren. You get the Tennessee Titans defense, and the Tennessee Titans have been in 2 grunge battles, so you got to look at their defense. They averaged 12.8 points versus the quarterback, which is very, very low there. So their defense has been good, but they played the Broncos in week 1 in the grunge battle and the Rams where they got shut down in week 2 there. So, you got to look at the average points there. I think Danny Dimes, and it's crazy to say that this guy might be a start every single week. He brings the rushing upside. He has 3 rushing touchdowns on the season already through 2 games. And this offense looks like a nightmare to stop with Jonathan Taylor. And he looks good. Like, I had him on a sit last week versus the Broncos in that defense, and he destroyed one of the best defenses in fantasy football. How can I say sit this guy this week? I cannot. On to Cam Ward. There's going to be better days ahead here for Cam Ward. They threw this guy to the wolves in the first 2 weeks of the season. Literally gave him 2 of the top defenses, 2 playoff contending teams in the Broncos and the Rams. So don't go, too crazy when you see, that he's had a rough start here because it's been a very brutal matchup start. But you do get the Colts, who are ranking number 7 versus the quarterback right now, allowing 13.5 points per game, 352 yards through the air. So do I like Cam Ward as a start here? No, but I do think it's going to be a better matchup for him this week. I mean, I am Norris having a little breakout, but Calvin Ridley's been locked up for 2 tough matchups. Calvin Ridley's going to be unleashed here. One of a buy low you should be looking at for sure, 100%. And I like Cam Ward moving forward. I just can't put him up there yet, but you got to give him a little break, man. It's the second game, and he's had two brutal matchups, and now you get another 2-0 team. So, I mean, this is a very, very rough start for Cam Ward. Who thought we would be here already in week 3? The Cincinnati Bengals are heading into the Minnesota Vikings. Bengals 2-0, Vikings 1-1, over under 42.5. Low implied point total game. Vikings favored by 2.5, but look at the matchup we have here, guys. Jake Browning versus Carson Wentz. What the hell did we think this would be here in week 3 on our bingo cards? No, we did not. So J.J. McCarthy, obviously in red, out 2 to 4 weeks with the high ankle sprain. Joe Burrow, 3 months. It looks like possible surgery. They're doing a bunch of procedures on the foot to see what he needs, or with the turf toe, whatever the call is. They're trying to make it faster because the Bengals are off to a 2-0 start and they need to get their guy back. Now, when I'm looking at Jake Browning here, why I have him in yellow is because the guy just put up 22.74 fantasy points against Jacksonville last week, and he's been in this system before. And you got to think of this is midway through the second quarter. He could have had another quarter on top of this and been a 28 possible 30-point quarterback play. And he knows Chase. He knows Higgins. He knows the offense. He's been here for a long, long time, guys. He's been here for 5 years. He knows the system. So 2024, last year, Joe Burrow played the whole year healthy. But what we have to look at here is 2023. In 2023, when he was a starting quarterback, he had 2 games of 30-plus points in week 13 and 14. He had a game of 22 points against Minnesota in week 15. And then 17 and 18 weeks, he went 23 and 24 points. You have all the weapons in the bag here. And I know it's a tough matchup versus Minnesota, but this is definitely a super flex start for me. Redraft, if you need to throw him in there, you can. He does bring you a little rushing upside. Not a lot, but I mean, the weapons are everywhere here in this game. So I'm going to put him in yellow if you need to. And the same goes for Carson Wentz. So Carson Wentz is going to come into the one of the best systems in Minnesota. We saw J.J. McCarthy struggle a little bit. You're going to have Justin Jefferson. He will even have Addison back next week. Hopefully they can get T.J. Hawkinson involved because J.J. McCarthy has not found T.J. Hawkinson at all. And when you're looking at the Bengals defense, like, guys, this is the defense you target in fantasy football. This is 100%, right? The Cincinnati Bengals give up 15.3 points to the quarterback, but you got to remember they played the Cleveland Browns, and then they got the win last week over Jacksonville. So, I mean, Trevor Lawrence did drop 27, but Joe Flacco, rough game one there. So you got to like both these guys as super flex starts and possible dart play throws because the matchups are great and the weapons are great around both of these quarterbacks. The 1-1 battle in Foxborough, the Pittsburgh Steelers are headed into the New England Patriots this week, and Aaron Rodgers becomes another super flex possibility here. He did get a little injury nicked up last week, but it looks like he's going to be fine heading into the game here. 44.5 over under. Pittsburgh is favored by 1.5 on the road here, which is a little sketchy to me. But, the Patriots got that kick return to help him get the dub last week with Antonio Gibson. That was nice. But 44.5 over under. You got to look at Aaron Rodgers here in this matchup. The New England Patriots versus the quarterback, giving up 18 points a game, solid there, which is ranking them at 21st, so beyond half the barrel there. They've given up 677 pass yards, guys, which is the lowest, number one worst in the NFL. This could be a very, very advantageous matchup for Aaron Rodgers, but it was last week as well. And it kind of didn't shine through there. So I've moved him down to the super flex play this week if you need to throw him in there. Again, especially with all the quarterback injuries. Now, Drake May, my smash start of the week last week, 31 fantasy points. Showed the rushing ability finally. Patriots getting the things moving, and he's starting to click more and more with the offense here. You got to like all of this. You got Stephon Diggs increasing his snap share. Trayvon Henderson went down. We'll talk about that in the running back video. I'm really, really mad about that. But you have to love this. The Steelers are averaging 22.66 points per game to the quarterback position, ranking them at 28th. That is what you want to see here with Drake May. 513 passing yards they've allowed as well to go along with the rushing yard upside that they bring. They've allowed 48 yards rushing as well. So this is what you want to see here with Drake May. And when you're looking at this matchup, you're back at home. They're on the win streak. The grind is going to, the connection is going to start building now here. It was a slow start to the offseason with the Patriots. I alluded to that heading into week one. You're starting to see it grow here a little bit more. Keyshawn Boutte out there, Hunter Henry out there. I want to see Efton Chisholm get involved there more. But the Steelers defense, I thought, on paper was going to be this great defense, and it has been toasted by quarterbacks. So you have to like Drake May this week a ton. Playoff implications on the line. The 2-0 Rams are headed into the 2-0 Philadelphia Eagles, and you guys are not going to like this, but I've been saying this all year long. But we're going to talk about Matthew Stafford here first in the LA Rams. Going into Philly is number right now. They're ranking number 11 versus the quarterback, giving up 14.95 points per game. This defense is very stingy. They are going to have a nightmare with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, who look like they just absolutely started clicking against Tennessee. But it is a different matchup going into Philly here. And you have to look at their defense only allowed 375 pass yards, which is bottom of the barrel there as well. Very, very good pass D here and a good run D. So, you're looking at the over-under at 43.5. They got Philly favored by 3.5. This is going to be another grunge battle game here. And when we are talking about Jalen Hurts, guys, I've been alluding this to all year long with Kellen Moore being gone, the new offensive coordinator coming in, and how bad the Eagles' passing game is going to be. They don't even have 300 yards passing in 2 games, and they're 2-0. And if you go back to the Super Bowl even last year, in all 3 games combined, they don't even have 300-plus yards passing, and they just win games with this stupid tush-push run game. I'm putting Jalen Hurts as a super flex start, not as a smash start. You are going up against the number 1 defense versus the quarterback right now in the LA Rams, only allowing 9 points a game to the quarterback position. So, yeah, did they play Cam Ward? Yes. You can throw that in if you want. They've only allowed 363 passing yards as well, which is top 5 there in the NFL. This is a very, very stingy defense. They are going to get after Jalen Hurts, and I think this is going to be a grunge game where you should really, really think about other options instead of Jalen Hurts at this point, because A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith are absolute ghosts out there. This passing game is atrocious. It's Saquon and tush push all the way for the Eagles, and I'm starting to get really, really worried. Well, I was already worried, but I'm starting to get really worried for you guys that weren't worried ahead of time about Jalen Hurts heading into the season. The 0-2 Jets are heading into the 2-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What a big comeback win for Baker Mayfield last night. How can you not root for this guy, man? He's like one of my favorite guys to root for. But moving on here, I'm going to put both these quarterbacks as starts in this game. The over-under is 44.5. Tampa Bay is favored by 6.5. Make sure you're paying attention to Justin Fields' concussion. I just saw the update already. They said if he doesn't practice Wednesday or Thursday, there might be a shot he doesn't play, but there's no way I'm starting Tyrod Taylor even if Justin Fields is out. So Justin Fields just came off his worst game. We all know this, right? We all know that was a terrible game versus the Bills. He ended up with a concussion at the end, and nothing was working even before the concussion, right? So, 11 attempts, 3 completions, 27 yards. It was terrible. But you got to look at it like this. After the week 1 blow-up game versus Steelers with Garrett Wilson and how good they looked, they went with Buffalo, right? They went Buffalo coming into their house. How did Buffalo respond after week 1, right? So Buffalo had their big comeback win versus the Ravens week 1. But what did they learn? They played Lamar Jackson enough. They know how to contain the quarterback. And this is exactly the same scheme that the Jets are going to be running with Justin Fields. So they already had the playbook ahead of time on this matchup. Now you're getting Tampa Bay this week. I think that you're going to see a big bounce back here, especially if he's out there because the rushing upside is too much. And I'm not benching this guy off one bad game. People overreact too much. 31 points in week 1 and then 3 points after that. Still averaging, 20 or let's say 18, 17 points a game. The upside is too high to sit Justin Fields if you own him. I can't do it. And you're going up against the Tampa Bay defense who's averaging 19.5 points to the quarterback a game, which is 23rd. They've given up 505 passing yards. They've given up 2 passing TDs. So, you got to like all of this already with the Tampa Bay defense. They stop the run. They don't stop the pass. And this is going to be a Justin Fields game where he can get out and get loose and create things with his legs here. But again, you got to pay attention to the updates here with him as well. Now, Baker, Brown, Mayfield. This guy is just the ultimate gamer, man. This is why I say I love rooting for Baker Mayfield. He's already off to 28 points and 23 points back to back. Number 8 QB right now already, and the rushing upside hasn't really been there, and he was kind of hampered in that game last night too. So, you're going up against the Jets defense. The Jets defense giving up 19 points a game to the quarterback, ranking 22nd right there. They've given up 4 passing TDs. That is what you want. Baker, Brown, Mayfield is going to be a start this week. He is going to light up the Jets defense. Egbuka, Evans, Bucky, Rashad White, Baby K-Dot gets involved. Got to like both these quarterbacks to start this week because both these defenses are really struggling versus the quarterback through 2 weeks. The battle of the 1-1s, the Las Vegas Raiders are heading in to face the Washington Commanders and JD5 with a knee sprain, but according to the updates, he is day to day. So make sure you're paying attention to that. You will also get him at a 10 a.m. game, so you will know ahead of time if you need to make that quarterback switch or not. But when it comes to Geno Smith, man, you saw Monday Night Football versus the Chargers. I had him on a sit, and a bunch of people commented, why would you have Geno Smith on a sit? Against tough defenses, he's going to struggle. Commanders defense right now is giving up 16 points a game to the quarterback, which ranks 14th, so middle of the pack there. And when you're looking at the situation, their passing game, it's Jacoby Myers. Brock Bowers did not look healthy on Monday night, guys. They threw him out there. That was very, very risky, in my opinion, on their part. They should have just played Michael Mayer and sat him in that game because you don't want to throw your superstar tight end away. Hopefully he gets more healthy, but it's also another short week because you're coming off a Monday Night Football game. How much Brock Bowers are you really going to get? And Ashton Genty, we'll get to that in the running back video, but there's a reason I didn't rank him in my top 5 coming into the season like other people. So when I'm looking at Geno Smith, I'm not starting him versus the Commanders. The over-under is 44.5. Washington's favored by 3.5. Still not doing it by any way, shape, or form after what I saw on Monday Night Football. Jaden Daniels is always a start, no matter what. No matter you paid the capital for him, you're going to see, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt now is the running back out there. And this is the time. If you guys have been watching my videos, we're going to get to my wide receiver stardom sims here. This is the time to start looking for that Terry McLaurin ramp up because I said week 4 is when he's going to be back. And I said to sit him for the first 2 weeks. So Jaden Daniels is going to have his other weapon out there with him back full send because he had the holdout. And when you're 30 years old and you hold out for that long, your numbers are usually slow coming out. It's just common sense in fantasy football that people just sometimes do not listen to. But when you're looking at the Oakland Raiders defense, this defense is giving up 17.28 points per game to the quarterback, 529 passing yards already, averaging 260 a game. JD5 will get it done on the ground either way, even with a banged up knee or not. He won't take a shot to the knee, but I'm sure he'll get 30, 40 rushing yards on top of the passing yards. And I think the Commanders are going to absolutely roll over the Raiders this week. The 1-1 Atlanta Falcons are headed into the 0-2 Panthers, and this is going to be a game where I double sit these quarterbacks this week. And the Atlanta Falcons, people are going to be like, why with Michael Penix? Why? We're going to get to that right now. So this game is 43.5 over under, not a high implied point total game. Atlanta favored by 5.5 in this game. And why do I like to sit him versus the Panthers? Because we know that the Carolina Panthers give up hemorrhaging numbers to the running back. Falcons now are realizing Bijan Robinson is going to save their season. This is where Bijan is absolutely going to go nuclear, beyond nuclear against the Carolina Panthers this week. And look at the season. Carolina is number 3 defensively versus the quarterback because they can't stop the run. They can stop the pass. They got J.C. Horn out there. He's a nice corner. He'll be on Drake London out there. We'll get to that in my wide receiver video. But Michael Penix, I'm sitting in this game, and Bryce Young, I am 100% sitting in this game. The Atlanta Falcons secondary and defense that they spend on that front line is absolutely nasty. They probably have the best 2 safeties, 2 corners in the NFL for a full secondary. They're only giving up 12.7 points per game to the quarterback and have allowed 325 pass yards, which is the lowest in the NFL. I am not starting a Bryce Young versus the Atlanta Falcons in this game, even though he looked good. You know, he passed for more yards in the second half last week than Jalen Hurts has done all season long. He is a streaky quarterback. The connection with Ted McMillan is growing, but I just don't like this matchup at all for the Carolina Panthers. The 0-2 Houston Texans are rolling into Duval County to take on the 1-1 Jacksonville Jaguars, and God damn it, it is time to open up C.J. Stroud. They've got to start realizing this. I know you got to run the ball in football, but they've got to start getting Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, hopefully get Christian Kirk back and get Jayden Noel involved, because it is crazy to me. The breakout, the matchups have been great for C.J. Stroud, and it hasn't been good. This is another very good matchup versus the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. They're allowing 16.47 per game to the quarter, or 16.7 points per game to the quarterback, ranking 16th. They've also given up 471 pass yards through 2 games, averaging about 235. You've got Nico Collins. It's time to let the big guy fly. The over/under 44.5 in this game. Jacksonville favored by 1.5. I honestly like the Texans to come in here and get this win here, and I think this is really going to hurt because I had C.J. Stroud as a massive breakout, or not say breakout because he broke out his rookie year, bounce back player, and it's looked really, really ugly so far. On to the Trevor Lawrence side and the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this is going to be a brutal matchup. The Texans are going to get after you. Their defense is very, very good. They've kept them in both games they've lost. The Texans just need to get the offense moving. That's like the only problem they have. So when you're looking at the Houston Texans, they are giving up 16.75 to the quarterback per game through 2 games, ranking 17th, 460 pass yards, but their rush yards are very, very low. So this is why Trevor Lawrence and C.J. Stroud will both be super flex option throw-ins for me, because the run game for the Texans is going to be rough, right? You know, you see Nick Chubb. Yeah, he got that 25-yard touchdown last night on a wide-open run. But when their offensive line is terrible. And then you're looking at Jacksonville. Their run game's been good, but they haven't played a rushing defense like the Texans. So it's going to be a very bad matchup for them on the ground. Both these guys have to get it done in the air here, and they're both startable for me if you need, as like a super flex, or maybe you lost one of the injuries to a quarterback. I don't love them as starts. I don't love them as sits. I love them as if you need to throw them in, they could have possibly a 20-point game this week. A 1-1 Broncos heading into the L.A. Chargers that are 2-0 for a division matchup. But, man, the Broncos, brutal loss to the Colts last week with that flag. But 46.5 over-under in this game. Oh, pulled up the Cowboys on accident. Let me grab that here. Chargers favored by 2.5. Now, when I'm looking at Bo Nix, yeah, he had a 20-point game almost in the first half last week against the Colts, and he got locked up in the second. The Chargers defense, guys, is only giving up 14 points to the quarterback position. That's top 9 in the NFL. It's number 9. Bo Nix does give you the rushing upside, but you got to look at what this Charger defense is doing. And even with Khalil Mack out last night, they still looked like they were getting pressure, still holding it down in the secondary. I like Bo Nix as a super flex start or throw-in start if you need. I don't like him as a smash start this week, especially in a division kind of grunge battle game here with the Chargers. And, man, when it comes to Justin Herbert, guys, if he was on your waiver wire when I said smash all your shit, for all your fab, all your waiver order, whatever it was for him in week 1, Justin Herbert is here. The MVP season is here. They are legit Super Bowl contenders. He's already got 560 passing yards and 5 TDs, hitting Quentin Johnson on bombs. Keenan Allen, his red zone go-to, and you got the little scat, Lad McConkey running everywhere. I mean, he's a route running machine. And when you look at the matchup they get versus the Denver Broncos, I mean, the Broncos had a smash week 1, right? And then against the Titans, because Cam Ward did absolutely nothing. And then they got Danny Dime bombed on last week. So when you look at the offensive scheme that they have, Chargers are struggling to run the ball in the Harbaugh system. It is not working with Hampton and Najee at all. This has become an air passing attack, and you just saw Danny Dimes light them up. How can you not start Justin Herbert with confidence from here on out? Absolute smash start for me with Justin Herbert this week. The 0-2 Saints and the wheels are falling off. This is going to be a brutal matchup heading into the 12th man in Seattle, who is 1-1 coming off their big win last week. Over under 41.5. Seattle favored by 7.5. They do not like this game to score points, and neither do I. Now, I know Spencer Rattler's coming off his 3 TD game versus the 49ers defense, which I did not see happening. But you got to realize that was Mac Jones' first start as well, so the opportunities were there in bunches. 49ers injuries were piled up across the board. Now you're going up against one of the toughest defenses in the Seattle Seahawks, and it's not really going to show it on paper for Seattle right now. So if you're looking at Seattle versus the quarterback, well, I guess it does. They rank 8th, giving up 13.8, but there's couple ways to look at that because the matchup they had was very, very easy, which really, skewed their numbers for only 2 weeks in. So when you look at the numbers, yeah, it is a very top defense, and they're going to be nasty at home versus Spencer Rattler. I'm not starting either one of these quarterbacks, and I think it's only a matter of time before you see Tyler Shuck get in this game here, or start to take over this job here, even though he just threw for 3 TDs last week. On to the Seattle Seahawks side, Superflex, if you need to start Sam Darnold in this game, you can. You're going up against the New Orleans Saints defense. The Saints defense is going to be on the field nonstop because their offense can't move the ball. They're giving up 20 points a game to the quarterback position, but they've only given up 442 pass yards, which is not as bad as people think. That's like above middle of the pack. That's like 9th. So they have been actually decent versus the pass. It's the run game that just kills them because they're on the field so long that defense is out there. So if you need to pick him up off the waiver wire, if you've got him stashed, you need to throw because your quarterback injuries that are massively picking up has happened. I'm not mad at that if you want to throw him in there. I don't love it, but if you need a super flex start, it's okay. I wouldn't say I like it a ton, even though the Saints give up 20 points a game. He's just not a sexy start to me. A game that I'm going to be targeting heavily here in fantasy football this week. The Dallas Cowboys at 1-1 are headed into the 0-2 Chicago Bears, and man, Caleb Williams better figure it out this week, right? Because you got to look at what Russell Wilson just did last week, and it's freaking 450 yards and massive game against the Cowboys. I have this backwards, should be the other way, so I messed up the graphics. The Cowboys are on the road, the Bears are at home. But both these quarterbacks are going to be smash starts for me, and here's why. And we just talked about, Caleb Williams, they got blown up by the Lions last week, and he really sat the last part out to Tyson Badgett because they couldn't stop the Lions offense. How are they going to stop the Dallas Cowboys offense with the injuries they have piling up on the defensive side? They're not going to be able to. They're going to have to score points at will here. Ben Johnson, yes, it is a new system they're learning. Yes, it is a lot tougher, to all the schemes and motions and everything he uses. But the Dallas Cowboys give up 27 points to the quarterback, which is 3rd worst in the NFL. They obviously just got bombed on by Russell Wilson. They held Jalen Hurts down in the passing game, and everyone thought it was Schottenheimer and the defensive scheme they used. No, the Eagles' passing game is just not good. So Caleb Williams is going to be a smash start of mine this week. It's probably going to be him and Justin Herbert, and I'll get to more statistical breakdowns on the smash start video. But he's got to get it going here. I don't want to see him to go 0-3 and just have the wheels fall off and all the Boo Bears come out because he has so many weapons and so many good things around him. It's absolutely crazy. Now, Dak Prescott. What a win for the Dallas Cowboys in overtime. 64-yard Brandon Aubrey, game-saving, season-saving, franchise Dak Prescott saving kick heard round the world for the Cowboys. Absolutely. Dude, he's such a weapon in fantasy football. It's crazy. But here's what you have to look at. You're going up against the Chicago Bears, the number 1 worst defense versus the quarterback through 2 weeks, allowing 28 points a game. This is what you want for Dak. You've seen Javonte Williams, who I can't believe, find a little groove. George Pickens finds the end zone. CeeDee Lamb pops 100. Jake Ferguson has his big game. All the weapons are there. Dak Prescott and Caleb Williams are going to be absolutely nuclear plays this week in a game where they have 50.5 over/under, and they have the Bears favored, which is crazy. I'm taking the Cowboys here, and I like both these guys to smash 20 points in this game. The NFC West battle of the 2-0 Arizona Cardinals headed into the 2-0 49ers, getting a win with Mac Jones last week. Now, when I'm looking at Kyler Murray here, you are going up against a tough matchup versus the 49ers, who are only allowing 13.54 points per game, but only 352 yards passing as well, which is very, very low. And you've seen the Marvin Harrison struggles already. Through 2 weeks, you saw him get a touchdown last week. Still, the volume wasn't there. Then he pulls up a goose egg here. And the 49er defense, I know that Spencer Rattler just, rattled off a 3 touchdown game. I'm starting Kyler Murray, even though I know the Marvin thing is not really there. He gives you the rushing upside. Trey McBride having his touchdown drought again, but still the Cardinals are 2-0. But both these teams, you look at their defense, so, Mac Jones side as well, coming off his 3 touchdown game, 20-point game there against the Saints. Both these teams have had a very easy schedule to start the season, so that when you look at their defenses, the 49ers rank 7th. The Arizona Cardinals rank 15th, allowing 16 points a game to the quarterback. But they really played 2 kind of easy matchups for both teams. It's going to get tougher down the stretch here. But again, you've got a matchup with Mac Jones, the quarterback. You've got Kyler Murray in the rushing upside. I'm starting Kyler Murray. And if I need to throw, Mac Jones is a super flex play or, dart throw quarterback this week, this is the Niners' first home game. You saw Juan Jennings back. You saw him start balling. Ricky P out there. Kittle should be back, 3 weeks here. So the 49ers are going to get it rolling here. And you've got Christian McCaffrey, who is always going to change your quarterback dynamic. So I'm not opposed to the sit or start for Mac Jones if you need to throw him out there this week. Sunday Night Football, the 0-2 Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, 0-2 Chiefs, which is absolutely crazy. And their leading rusher, guys, is Patrick Mahomes with 123 rush yards. Isn't that crazy? Now, let's look at this matchup here. So this is like the do or die game, right? I mean, this is do or die at all. I don't think the Chiefs go 0-3. I don't think they bounce back. You got Rashee Rice coming back week 7. Travis Kelce dropping catches. I told you week 1, he got that busted play touchdown. He doesn't look himself anymore. And they need Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy back out there. And Xavier Worthy, they may get back this week. So you have to pay attention to that. But the thing you also have to pay attention here is what I alluded to at the beginning here, is the Chiefs have 0 run game. At all. And the Giants' strength is versus the run, but it doesn't really count as a strength because their shootout, their defense is on the field. So I mean, the Cowboys game, aberration game there point wise. I mean, it makes the Giants look like they're very, very bad versus the quarterback because Dak Prescott lit them up, and they allowed 21.13 points per game, which ranks 27th. So very, very bad versus the quarterback. But again, that's a 1 game sample size versus the Cowboys, where the other week before they were very good on defense. And when I look at Russell Wilson, guys, I'm not throwing this guy out there because he dropped a throwback rust, let him cook game against the Cowboys defense. And the points at the end of that game were absolutely crazy, how they were just flying off the board, overtime, everything like that. I mean, and this is like situation here. Chiefs season is on the line here. And you're about to see Russell Wilson's season be on the line, even coming off a big game here, because they go 0-3. There's a lot of teams that need a quarterback right now, a ton. And they've got Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson sitting in their back pocket with Jackson Dart, who they paid a first-round pick for. And the owner, the crowd, everybody wants to see Jackson Dart out there. The Chiefs are giving up 19.73 to the quarterback. That ranks them 24th. But they just held down Jalen Hurts tough. And I think this is going to be a big, big game for the Chiefs here. And I'm not starting Russell Wilson even off that big game. It's Monday Night Football, monster 1-1 game. The Detroit Lions are headed in to the Baltimore Ravens. And last week, I even kind of gave it to you, man. I said, when Jared Goff comes to home and he plays in Detroit, the Ben Johnson revenge game, he's probably going to have a better week. But when you're going up against this Raven defense, and you look on paper, the Ravens defense, obviously through 2 weeks, is going to look bad because they played Josh Allen in week 1. So they gave up 26.14 points on the season, which ranks 29th. But Josh Allen dropped 40 of that. So you average that. They just literally shut down Joe Flacco, shut down the Ravens offense. They're back at home. Jared Goff struggles on the road versus at home. They scored their big game last week, and Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra with 3 touchdowns. Now you're going up against a way better defense in a hostile environment. And I'm going to stay away from Jared Goff this week. Lower end superflex start if you need is what I'm going to call it, because the Ravens are angry from that week 1 loss, and you could tell in week 2 right away. And they just won the game without Derrick Henry doing anything. Derrick Henry is going to bounce back here at home, and it's just going to be a Ravens domination game here, I feel like, versus the Lions this week. Now, when I look at Lamar Jackson, are you ever really going to sit this guy regardless of the matchup? No, you are not, so we'll make it quick. The Lions give up 17.34 points to the quarterback on the season. That ranks 19th. They've given up 422 pass yards, which is low there as well. And 4 TDs they've given up through the air already. And Lamar Jackson, you saw last week, they don't even care if they're up on the Cleveland Browns or not. They're going to pass. You saw Devontae Walker find the end zone. You'd like to see Mark Andrews get involved, but we'll get to that in the tight end video. And I'm absolutely starting Lamar Jackson every single week if I paid the draft capital. Thanks for rocking with me today, guys. That is the end of the episode. That is my week 3 start sit-em quarterback for every single matchup. The injuries are absolutely crazy, and you're going to make sure you listen to all those stats and stuff, because my QB rankings video that comes tomorrow will be more of my interpretation instead of the stats and stuff like that, guys. As always, before you head out, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Hit that thumbs up. Helps me out a ton. If you guys want to check out the Discord, again, the guys FF pinned in the comments and in the description. You can talk with us 24/7. And if you haven't signed up on drafters.com, make sure you use promo code SLEEZE. It will match your deposit up to $100. My next video is going to be running backs and wide receivers and tight ends. We are going to try to get them all out to you guys today. And if you guys want to check out my waiver wire video, that just dropped as well for who to pick up tonight on the waiver wire. That is it for me, guys. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Sleaze Bomb out.